And welcome back, everyone, to Pokemon Team Creation Series. Excuse me. Today's Pokemon Series creation request comes to us from Nazareth Hussein, who asked the question, what is the Pokemon team of Donkey from Trek? Fan favorite. We love Donkey. Who doesn't love Donkey? I actually don't believe I've done Shrek's team yet. Have I? Just checking my checking through all the videos I've done. All I have to do is type in Shrek in my search function. I should be able to bring it up. I don't think that I've done Shrek yet, but I could be wrong on that. I don't think I've done Puss in Boots either. In fact, I think now that I really think on it, I don't know if I've done a Shrek character in the series at all. I've done Shrek for other stuff, but not for this, I don't think. Okay, I've done what Lantern Corps Shrek belongs in. Oh, you know what? I have done Shrek's Pokemon team. I have. This was about a year ago I did that one. I remember saying, how many layers does a team have? Ogres have teams! Anyway. So, yeah, I did do Shrek. I should probably do Puss in Boots at some points, though, if I haven't already. In fact, you know what? I'm going to check that right now. Have I done Puss? Puss in Boots. Let's find out. Did I do Puss's Pokemon team? Again, I've done so many of these now, it does all ramble in my head sometimes. No, I have not done Puss's Pokemon team yet, so at some point I'll have to do Puss. For now, though, we're looking at Donkey, the magical talking donkey that follows Shrek. Now, he's only magical in the sense that he can talk, hence why he's able to do that. And that's why animals can talk in the world, through magic. Although, the dark theory, because it's all fairy tales, is that Donkey was one of the kids in Pinocchio who got turned into a donkey, but he escaped. So, yeah, that is kind of a dark-ass theory, and I kind of dig it, and it would fit in the world. Anywho, though, let's just get started. There is only, from what I can find, one donkey-based Pokemon. And if you're going to do a team for Donkey, there has to be a donkey Pokemon on there. It's got to be Mudsbray. Hence, Bray is the name, the sound a donkey makes. And it's clearly more based off of a donkey than a horse, despite the fact it does turn into Mudsdale, which is a horse. So, yeah, even if it's not a straight donkey, it's the closest we have. So if I'm going to have a team for Donkey, he needs to have a donkey on there. But he's best friends with an ogre. And there aren't a lot for ogres. I mean, you have, like, Grimmsnarl, but that's more closely related to a troll than an ogre. Fortunately, Gen 9 did give us Ogerpon. And this actually works out, Ogerpon, which actually works out better than you initially think. One, it is based off an ogre. Not quite a traditional ogre like Shrek, but a more like yokai version of an ogre. But beyond that, it's a misunderstood Pokemon that does want friends but can't trust people. Exactly Shrek's MO. And it's green. So there you go. Then you also got to factor in his other biggest friend, Puss in Boots, who initially had a bit of a competitive rivalry with for Shrek's attention and all that, but ultimately did become friends with. And luckily, there's no straight Puss in Boots Pokemon, but we do have Florigato. And Florigato, I think, is about as close to Puss in Boots as you're getting. There is no sword, hat, like cat Pokemon that exists. Yes, there's the Meow from the anime, but that's an anime thing. Meows don't generally act like that. But this is a bipedal cat, kind of shaped like Puss a little bit. And it does carry a little, I want to say it's like a yo-yo weapon with it. Not a sword, mind you, but still. You could even make the argument that the green, spot or markings on its feet are reminiscent of boots. So I kind of like that. Sprigatito is not a Puss in Boots. It's not, so I did not go with that. Also, Donkey is known for several things, and I'm going to go with the middle one here for this. And the one big thing is he's known for not shutting his mouth. Like, Donkey can talk forever. Now, there aren't a lot of Pokemon that are actually capable of human speech, let alone talkative Pokemon, but I think Chatot works for that. Even though it's a little bit more musical based, I think it's literally designed as for chatter. Hence, its signature ability is chatter. I was going to go with Squawkabilly, but it turns out those are not, they're more just aggressive, like biker punks, like greaser style birds with the pompadour and anything else. So, nah. Then I did want another horse on the team because there is Shrek 2 where he turns into a stallion, baby! Trotting in place. Yeah. What? And So I didn't want to double down. Mudsdale, even though that is the evolved form of Mudspray, would make sense, except for the fact well, I love Mudsdale, by the way. I've used Mudsdale on multiple playthroughs. That thing is a tank. Not just taking damage, but dishing it out. That thing is a beast. But it's slow, so damn slow. I couldn't use that for the steed, because he is just a steed. It's not that he's like it's not like he's just an evolved donkey. He is a different thing. He's a horse. And so I knew it needed to be a different Pokemon. And we have a couple horse-based Pokemon, but Rapidash made the most sense. Even though both it and its Galarian form are more unicorn-esque, because they both have a horn on their head, particularly the Galarian form, I still decided to go with this just because I think it works better. It's also an extremely fast Pokemon. For a while, it was the fastest Pokemon. But look, let's be real here. Let's be honest, and let's be adults. You can't have a team for Donkey without having his Bay. What is the dragon Pokemon that represents dragon on the team? And there aren't a lot of like traditional dragons in Pokemon that could work in that regard. Like, I got nothing in Gen 9. I've got nothing in Gen 5 except for Druddigon, and Druddigon doesn't work. You can't do Garchomp. You can't do Goodra. It needs to have wings. So that really only left me with a few options. I didn't like Dragonite because Dragon is still dangerous. She's still a dragon, and Dragonite is just too goofy. So went with Salamence. There would be a female Salamence, mind you, but I went with Salamence. And I think that works. It's got probably the closest color scheme, even though it's mostly blue with red on it, to Dragon. But it's also just a traditional style dragon, too. So for what it's worth, I like that. I think that works. So as always, the question is, how balanced is this team? And it is a hoofa team. Times 5 weakness to ice. The only thing standing out the ice is Rapidash. Times 2 weakness to water with your ground and fire type. Times 2 weakness to fire with your 2 grass types. Times 2 weakness to bug, again with your 2 grass types. Times 2 weakness to flying with your ground type. Times 2 with your 2 grass types. Sorry. Times 2 weakness to poison, your 2 grass types, and times 3 weakness to rock with all your bottom 3 right there, your fire, your normal flying, and your dragon flying. But the trade-off is, even though there's a times 5 weakness on this team, there's 3 times strength against rock with your top row there, 2 times strength against steel with your fire and your ground, 2 times strength against water with your 2 grass types, 2 times strength against ground with your 2 grass types, times 3 strength against grass with your fire, flying, and your 2 flying and your fire type. Times 2 strength against fighting with your 2 flying types. And times 3 strength against bug with your 2 flying and your fire, respectively. So it is not improperly balanced, I think. But the question, as always, is how strong is this team in terms of the playthrough? Can you become champion? And I'll say this, you would the first gym leader in Kanto you would openly struggle against is Koga. Mostly because you got a times 2 weakness to poison, and your ace at that point would be Ogerpon, who stat-wise is great, but she's not, and I didn't specifically give it a mass because it loses the green coloring, and it's supposed to represent Shrek. So, yeah. If you lose Ogerpon, you're not quite. Let me double check Koga's level real quick, because if you're within 2 levels, I could argue you could have Rapidash at that point. So hold on. Let me go here. Koga. Let's see, and I'll look at Leaf Green, as I think that's the most relevant, because I can't remember if he's actually the gym leader in. No, yeah, he is. He is the gym leader in Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee, but those games are kind of on easy mode, so I don't count that. So let me see here. The gym leaders here: Leaf Green, Fire Red. Underrated games, by the way. Underrated games, because I didn't play the original Red, Green, Blue, or any of that. I played these guys. I played Silver. Silver was actually my first game ever for Pokemon. Bought it with my own money, got the guidebook and everything, and I played. Let's see here now. All right, so Koga. Okay, you know what? He's got a level 43 Cut Weezing. you could have Rapidash at this point. That makes this, even though Poison's not weak to fire, should be, honestly. I mean, toxic, noxious fumes, methane, all that, catches like that. There's a legitimate reason Poison should be weak against fire, I think. I mean, whenever I have a fire-type Pokemon, I've always been very prominent to use against Poison. That might be a video I do someday, redoing the weaknesses and typings of Pokemon. Anywho, I digress. I mean, I got time at the moment, so I digress. So, where was I going with this? So yeah, Koga, that means you're now going up against him with Mudspray, which has ground moves, but it's under-evolved. You'll get a few hits off with Ogerpon before it goes down. Rapidash and Chatot, Rapidash might be able to pull you through. It might be able to, but it'd be tough ass. It'd be tough. And then you'd be fine up until Lorelei. Unfortunately, yes, she has water type. She has Slowbro on her team, but she also has Lapras, dual type, Dugong, dual type, Jinx, dual type, Cloyster, dual type. I'm gonna be honest. I think you stop at Lorelei because not only are all of her Icemon except for Jinx resistant to your one fire type, the one thing you have that's good against it, you then have to deal with all the ice typing on the team. And she's only got one non-ice type in Slowbro, which you could take out with Ogerpon, but then you got to deal with all the ice. Like, legitimately, you are kind of screwed against Lorelei. It's one of the first times that you're not getting past the Elite Four. Even if you could get past her, it'd be a hard win, or hard-fought win for that champion title. He starts with Pidgeot. You'd have to take out Mudspray because it's no good against it, which means you then got to bring out probably, no joke, probably Salamence, because nothing else is going to take a wind flying attack from Pidgeot. Pidgeot and him are going to duke it out for it. You'll probably take it down. He then probably brings out Rhydon. So you're going to have to swap out for a grass type move, which means one of them's taking a pretty nasty hit, most likely, and there's no guarantee you'll one-shot it. So if you go Ogerpon, you might one-shot it, so there's that. Then he's going to bring out probably a Fire type. Unfortunately, even if you bring out Mudspray, it's not good, so you're probably going to either have to bring out Mudspray, take a hit, and then bring out Salamence again. And even then, you're still going to take a hit. Salamence might be weak now. Then he's going to probably bring out Alakazam, which at that point outspeeds Salamence, if I'm not mistaken. It has better special attack, so might take it out then. I don't know. It doesn't look good. It's not impossible, I think, but not likely. In Johto, you struggle with Faulkner, but I don't think it's impossible because ground's not weak to flying. You also struggle with Bugsy because resists both your typings, but you do have the stat advantage when it comes to Ogerpon. So again, not impossible. And after that, you would make it all the way to Claire. And then you would stop at Claire. Ogerpon's grass typing is resisted by Dragon, as is Rapidash's fire typing, and the only Dragon you'd have at this time is still a Shelgon. And it's slow as hell. So, not super slow, but slower than Kingdra and Dragonair. So, yeah, I think you stop there. And you couldn't beat Lance. Like, yeah, you got one Salamence, great, and Ogerpon. Ogerpon is literally resisted by everything on that team. Like, it's either resisted or it's neutral. The 3 Dragonair resist it. He's got 3 flying types, added on with a fire type flying type with Charizard. So at best you're neutral, and at worst you're resistant. So your big ace in Ogerpon is no good. And Salamence just can't carry the weight of the entire match itself, sadly. So no, you wouldn't be able to beat him anyway. Weirdly enough, you'd be fine up until, and this is weird to say, Fiona. Or, sorry, not Fiona. Sorry, Flannery. Why did I say Fiona? Flannery. Why? Because Ogerpon still resists electricity, as does Floragato, which you'll have both of them. You're immune to electricity with Mudspray, so it'd be tough, but you could do it. You could beat Watson. But you're not at a level or a typing advantage where you can beat Flannery. Again, you only have a Ponyta. Yeah, you'll resist it, but that Torkoal's got Body Slam as well as Numel having Magnitude, and that's assuming you're playing normal Heart Gold or Ruby Sapphire or Omega and Alpha, not Emerald, where she has a Camerupt also. And yeah, you're that Ogerpon and that Floragato are just going to take it down. So it's a no-go after that. And even still, even if you couldn't even make it to Glacia or to the Elite Four. You couldn't even beat Glacia because their ice types are a mix of ice and water. So you're pretty effed. And then you're not even going to manage. You wouldn't even be able to beat Steven because he's a steel type trainer. You only got 2 strong Mon against steel type. Well, he's a steel and rock trainer. And that means you still got to deal with Claydol, who would be completely resistant to Rapidash, so you got to switch out for that. You also got to deal with Armaldo and Lily, who are just going to be neutral to the fire type. And neutral, in fact, resisting. Armaldo would resist your grass types and your flying types. So, yeah, and that's not even bringing Metagross, who's just going to tank everything except the Mudspray, which would probably be dead at this point, and the Rapidash. Okay. Believe it or not, I'm walking on air. I never thought I could be so free. And believe it or not, no freaking joke. I can't make this up if I tried. You can beat Cynthia with this team. It's not a guarantee. No match is ever a guarantee. But you can beat Cynthia with this. In fact, you can beat the game with this team. Mudspray takes out Rourke. Even though grass resists grass, Ogerpon's stats and knowing other non-grass moves helps immensely. No matter what version you're playing, you're gonna, because you're either dealing with Fantina first, which again Ogerpon can kind of dish out a lot of damage there, or you're dealing with Mei Ling. You should, although Mei Ling would be a little bit more difficult, be able to handle both of them. Again, Ogerpon being a mythical / legendary is kind of it really helps you out here with those stat lines. Though Lucario would be a problem, but if you just hold on Mudspray, swap it out, and just kind of like use Floragato for a while, you might be able to get a really good hit on Lucario. So I would say you could win there. Well, Crusher Wake is a little difficult because that Gyarados resists pretty much everything here, but again, you should, again, stat-wise, be able to handle him all right, because he's just neutral. And so you should be fine. You should be able to handle Byron, no problem, because you almost there to Rapidash, but not quite. But still, that's a fire type you have there, and a ground type who can probably at least dish one attack out at that point. Ice, though, is the one problem, but at that point you do have Rapidash, so you should be able to just kind of one-shot her entire team, more or less. And yeah, you should be able to even handle Wagner without too much difficulty. You're closing in on your Mythic, or your evolution for your Pseudo. And you have 2 resistances plus an immunity to electric, so it'd be difficult but not impossible. Plus he has an Octillery on his team, which you have a straight answer for. Then when going with the Elite Four, yes, your top half is weak against Bug, but the bottom half is strong, and you should have your Pseudo at that point. So yeah, you're good there. You should be good with Bertha, especially with your 2 grass types and one of them being a legendary. Flint's a little challenging, admittedly, but you have a Pseudo who resists fire, so you should be fine. And can easily take out Steelix as well. Lucian, you're not weak or strong against Psychic is the thing. So I'd say that's fine. But now the big question, how on earth are you actually able to beat Cynthia? Well, you would start with Mudspray. Use whatever ground type moves you can on it before it gets taken out. Then, honestly, you'd probably come in with either Rapidash or Salamence or Ogerpon to just kind of clean house with it. Now, here's the trick here. She normally would send out Rose Raid after that, but she's got 2 water types, so she would probably actually have to send out Lucario, in which case you swap in to Rapidash. She probably wouldn't swap back out. You take out Lucario. You take out Lucario. She brings out a water type, then you just bring out one of your 2 grass types, take that thing down. She's gonna always say Garchomp for last. She brings out Leafeon or Rose Raid, bring out Rapidash again, take a hit, take it out, brings out either Gastrodon or Milotic, take it out with a grass type move, and you're just left with Garchomp, and you still have the majority of your team left. Bring out Salamence, see if you can take it down if you don't weaken it immensely, and then just go in for the kill. You legitimately can win with this. Sinnoh is one of the hardest ones to do because Cynthia is notoriously one of the toughest champions there is. But you can beat Sinnoh with this team, which is insane. Then in Unova, you don't get past Berg no matter what, even with a type advantage. Sorry, even with a legendary on your side. The type advantage is too great because Bug resists ground and grass. So, and it's strong against grass. So you're SOL here, man. Berg has proven to actually be one of the more difficult challenges for these team combinations. Could you beat the champion otherwise if he got there? You could not beat Alder because right out the gate he starts with a Selgor, which, yeah, you could bring out Rapidash, but even then he's still going to get hits in, and he's still faster, too. A Selgor seriously outspeeds Rapidash. It's possible it doesn't take the Selgor down. Even if it does, he's then just going to bring out a Mon that's either resistant or neutral to it, so either Buffalon or Drudagon, and then take out the Rapidash. There's no point switching in at that point. Your Rapidash would be too weak. Okay, so let's say it's Drudagon. You probably have to bring out Salamence at that point. It would take it down, but then he brings out a Selgor or a Vanellope, and at that point, Vanellope, it just sweeps the whole team. That's the problem. He has an Ice type on the team, and while I hate the design, it's a good Ice type from everything I'm told. I've never used one personally because I hate the design, but yeah, it would probably, if it doesn't sweep the whole team, it at least takes the Salamence down. You might luck out and take it down, but then you still got to deal with the Scavalier and the Volcarona. It's not happening with Alder. And it's not happening with Hydreigon. Because you start with Mudspray, you'd have to switch out, and that's suicide to switch out because Hydreigon is just, if not more powerful than Salamence. Its typing is arguably better with a different type of immunity. Yeah, you're immune to ground types with Salamence, but you guys would just be trading blows, probably knocking each other out. And then you still got to deal with the remaining part of her team. Haxorus, you got no answer for at that point. You just got to pray you can kill it. Not to mention she's still got Drudagon on the team. And she's got Lapras, another water ice type. Like, you're just screwed otherwise. Kalos, believe it or not, you can't even get past Viola. Because Bug resists ground and fighting because it learns double kick. And she's got a water bug and a flying bug. Both of which, by the way, know an attack that can hurt this thing immensely. I believe Surskit knows Bubble, and her Vivian knows Gust, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, not good. Not good. And then, even then, you still couldn't beat Diantha. Mudspray would go down quick. You don't have a firm answer for Hawlucha, sadly. So you'd have to probably send out Salamence, because you certainly don't want to send out your two grass types. So that's X-Scissor and Swords Dance. And Flying Press. So, I mean, maybe you send out Chatot, honestly, because it would be resistant to the Flying Press and the X-Scissor, but it would still take a lot of damage and probably go down before it's too late. So then you probably got to bring out Salamence, but then it's going to be in trouble against the Tyranitar, which is a Rock Dragon, which means any flying type move you have on this thing, it's going to be resisted. And honestly, everything else is resisted. That Tyranitar resists everything else you got on the team. So you're struggling against that monster. Even if you bring it down, then you got to deal with Aurorus, who, if Rapidash is taken out, you're screwed. If it's not, it's still neutral because it's rock resists fire. And even if you manage to take that down, you still got to deal with Gudra, Gourgeist, and her Mega Gardevoir. It's just not happening. Galar's a no because you start with Milo and you go down and die. You have a ground type. It's not happening. Even if you got the Leon, it's not happening. His Aegislash alone, you would have to bring out Rapidash to take care of it. And then he's just going to bring out Dragapult, which outspeeds that thing immensely, and it has perfect coverage on its team for a Mon like that. Thunderbolting it, it's going to be resistant to fire type moves. You might have to switch out to Salamence, in which case it uses Dragon Breath. The only reason they didn't give it Dragon Darts is because it's too broken on that thing at that point. Salamence might take down the Dragapult, but it's taking a lick and it might be paralyzed. And if it's paralyzed, you're screwed because then Haxorus comes out, Swords Dance, and goes to town. Yeah, and then you still got to deal with whatever water type he has, and then whatever his second Mon is, plus the Charizard, which would wipe out the rest of this team. So no. And then Paldea is an automatic no, and weirdly enough, it's a no all around. You're not beating Katie because Bug again resists ground. And I don't think you could even beat Gita. You start with that path throw, which would take down the Mud Spray. One of these Mon could take down the Espathra, but you probably want to save your bigger hitters for later. So try Chatot. If that doesn't take it down, you're still weakening it enough to then bring up Floragato to take it down. But then you're in trouble because I believe her AI doesn't really work well because she'll still bring out, I think, Veluza next. And then I can't remember if it's Go-Goat next or then it's going to be, I think words here. It's going to be King Gambit. If it's Go-Goat, you would switch into you'd switch into probably Rapidash, and that would actually take out the majority of her team up until, and actually, I'll take it back. You could beat Gita just because of her way. She actually does not have a very balanced team at all. She doesn't have the pseudo of the region, which the champion always does on her team. Always has the pseudo on the team. Every time there's been an actual champion, legitimately, the pseudo of that region is on the team. So why she doesn't have Excalibur, I don't know, except for the fact that Hassel has it. In which case, that made no sense to do that. Honestly, I would have swapped out her. Honestly, I would have swapped out her Glamora and made either Excalibur or King Gambit her ace, and just swap those around. And automatically, you have a far more dangerous team on that. Because that team is significantly weak to fire. Significant. Like half that team is weak to straight up fire, let alone right out the gate. And you think, well, she's got coverage. She's got the Veluza and the Espada. Yeah, great. Not enough. And if you want to get technical, 2/3 of her team are weak to, not 2/3 of her team, sorry. But like half her team is also weak to Bug. Because the Veluza is, weirdly enough, a water psychic type. Yeah, half her team is weak. And then the Go-Go, and like, it's just, she does not have a very well balanced team. And then she terrestrializes her Glamora into a straight rock type, which means she has half her team straight weak to fighting as well. Ugh. Like just taking out just putting that Excalibur in and taking out that, what did I take out? The Glamora would have made it a far more dangerous team. And then making the King Gambit the final Pokemon like it's supposed to be, like she does in your rematch fights. With the Supreme Overlord a bit, like, oh, now you got a problem. But, whatever. Either way, yes, actually, you could have become champion if you could have just gotten past Katie. But you couldn't. So, here we are. Until then, though, that's Donkey's team. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.